Something has become impossible to ignore. Not because it suddenly started happening, but because it's no longer being contained the way it used to be. The seams are visible now, across politics, media, institutions, and the structures people were taught to rely on. You can see it in how quickly narratives shift, in how often positions reverse without explanation, in how different groups are being shown completely different versions of the same reality and told both are complete. This isn't just noise, it's exposure. For a long time, the system functioned by maintaining a sense of continuity. It didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to feel stable enough that most people wouldn't question how it was held together. That stability is thinning. Not in one place, in many places at once. Policies that don't align, messaging that contradicts itself, processes that no longer produce outcomes people recognize as fair or coherent. And what's becoming more visible is how much of that stability was never structural. It was perceptual. It relied on timing, framing, repetition, and the quiet assumption that most people wouldn't look too closely all at once. That assumption is breaking. Information moves faster than containment now. Contradictions sit side by side without being resolved. And the gap between what is said and what is experienced is harder to ignore. So people try to make sense of it. Some lean harder into one side, some withdraw completely. Some try to fact-check their way back to clarity. But the deeper frustration is the same. Things aren't lining up the way they used to. And when that happens at scale, it doesn't just feel confusing. It feels destabilizing. Because most people weren't taught how these systems actually operate. They were taught how to live inside them. So when the structure starts to show its inconsistencies, it doesn't just raise questions about what's happening now. It raises questions about what's been happening all along. That's the part people are trying to process, not just the headlines, the pattern. Why decisions look disconnected from outcomes? Why messaging doesn't match reality? Why accountability feels selective? Why the same event can be framed in completely different ways depending on where you're standing. This isn't about one issue or one moment. It's about the loss of a shared frame. And without that frame, people don't just disagree, they experience the world differently. That's why everything feels more volatile. Not because everything is new, but because more of it is visible at the same time. You're not imagining the inconsistencies, you're noticing them. And noticing them changes how the whole structure feels. Because once you see how something is being held together, you can't unsee it. And once that happens, the question shifts. It's no longer just, what is happening right now? It becomes, what has been happening underneath this the entire time? It doesn't mean everything disappears overnight. It means what used to feel solid no longer carries the same weight. And that shift, watching something continue while also seeing its fractures, is what people are trying to make sense of right now.